Bum 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 ba-dum bum 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 ba-da-da-dum bum bum ba-dum ba-ba-dum bum 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 ba-dum bum 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 ba-da-da-dum bum bum ba-dum ba-ba-dum. Hi, friends. Hello, good evening. Hello from New York, says Christine, and down southwest, west corner of Mississippi. West corner must be, says Raven. Hi, everyone from Ontario. Wonderful. Not much snow in Ontario, but pretty darn cold. I know that. Hi, friends. It's so great to see you all here. Love it. Hi, Donna. Hi. It's so good to see everyone. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for your friendship. Thank you for trusting in my information and what I like to give tonight. And so for those of you who don't know me, my name is Joette Calabrese, and I'm here every Monday night at 8 o'clock Eastern time to do one thing and one thing only, and that is to teach you what I know about homeopathy. And then I like to see you sharing with each other as well. And so that's what I do every Monday night. And for those of you who do know me, hi, friends. It's great to see you. Hello from Wisconsin. Hi, Paula. Great to see you. Hi, Deborah says she's in Topeka. Hi, friends, says Sharon Ray. It's great to see everyone. Okay, so this is such an interesting subject. We're going to be talking about, can homeopathy heal a broken heart? So it's kind of a little bit misleading because it's not that we're healing the broken heart. We're healing the ailments from a broken heart. Ailments from, and if we look in our repertory, at least in Robin Murphy's repertory, and they're all written pretty much the same, in the meta repertory, this is a 4th edition. For those of you who happen to have this repertory, and for newbies, it's a little bit overwhelming. But for those who are really studying and starting to get more and more into homeopathy, this is a fabulous book. And it does take a whole, a good amount of study. And I always tell people, if you're going to do it on your own, you must read the beginning. You must read all those pages that are in Roman numeral in the beginning. Or, of course, you join my academy where I teach how to use this book very well. And I teach people how to really navigate it, because it is a navigation. There's a lot of information in here. As you can well imagine, I should know the page number. There are 2,600 pages, just a little over 2,600 pages. And the paper is Bible paper. This is a medical book. So it's not really intended for the general public, but I love to get this information to the general public. So let's get back to this. I'm on page 167, and this is in the mind section. No sound. Come on. Is there sound? Let's see. Shoot. Okay. Tell me if there's sound. There should be sound. 3 years and I learn something new every time I crack it open. Isn't it so, Christy? You're absolutely right. You can never stop learning from this book, and we don't want to do that anyway. That's part of the joy. I can hear you. Okay, everybody says they can hear me. Okay, must be someone your own. Yes, I have sound. Yes, sounds good. Okay, good. And so we never stop learning. We can be autodidactic, which means we're going to study on our own, which is not a bad thing at all. I did that for years before I went to homeopathy school. I studied on my own. Then I studied with friends, which was fabulous. We had a study group for 4 years. Loved it. And that's what my gateway to homeopathy is based on, is what I did in those first years in the 80s when I only had one child at the time. And it is something that we take to the grave, our ability to learn something new. And you know what? I really like learning something new every day myself. Hello, lovely lady from New Zealand. Nice to see everyone here. Okay, so I'm on page 187, and it's in the mind section. Why? Because this is an issue about the mind and thinking and the way we experience life. Page 187 of the 4th edition of Robin Murphy's Meta Repertory. That's where I am right now. So if we look under love, and then comma, ailments from disappointed. So I've been dealing with a couple of people who are going through something related to this, ailments from disappointed love. So it's not going to change the circumstances. You know, years ago, I had a woman who had a miscarriage, and she was quite broken about it, understandably. And she said, I don't want to take a homeopathic medicine because I'm supposed to grieve. I don't want to take it away. Well, that's a misunderstanding of what homeopathy does. She was thinking it was going to act like, I don't know, Abilify or one of Prozac or something, where it just wipes clean the brain and you don't feel things the way you're supposed to feel them. No, that's not what this does at all. The grief is still there, but it's not as overwhelming. It's not as deep. It's not as grand. It doesn't take you to your knees. And I've discussed this before when my father passed away, and my mother too, but especially my father. I grieved so deeply. For 2, maybe 3 days, I was a broken person. I mean, I was a broken person. I couldn't even function. And I took the remedies that were specific, that worked beautifully for me. And within, I don't know, a few hours, half a day, something like that, I said, okay, I still miss him terribly, but it's no longer that I want to go because he's gone. I mean, it's ridiculous. No, that's not what he would have wanted. I have a husband. I have children. I have a life. I have a very rich life with lots of friends and clients and my work that I love so much. But I wanted to go. I didn't want to be here any longer. And that snapped me right out of it. And so instead of having grief to the point where I was brought to my knees physically, yes, even physically, it allowed me to get past that deep despair, the kind of despair that you wouldn't wish on your worst enemy. So I was able then to say, okay, I got together with my husband and my brother, and we made the plans. And what are we going to do about mom? How do we handle that? Mom's going to be alone now, so that means one of us has to take her, or both of us, and we take, etc. We came up with the plans. We planned the funeral, the wake, the funeral, and everything. And I was able to act like a normal human being. Even though I was still grieving, I still missed him terribly. But I changed, not the circumstance. Nothing's going to change the circumstance. Right? Nothing is going to make it different. It's going to make your approach to it more elevated. No, maybe that's not the word. More balanced. Because elevated gives us the impression that perhaps we're talking about a drug. These are not drugs. These are not synthetic drugs of commerce, my friends. These are God's medicine because it's all natural. It's just potentized. Means that it's just diluted 200 times to the 100th power if we're going to use a 200C. That's all it is. It gets the original substance and then dilutes it. This is done in a homeopathic pharmacy regulated by the FDA. Not that we hold them in the greatest regard, but the FDA was indeed started by a homeopathic physician back in the late 30s, early 40s. So this is highly regulated. It is not illegal. It is manufactured by homeopathic pharmacies that are extremely regulated, probably even more regulated than conventional pharmacies with synthetic drugs. So we're going to use one of these medicines for someone who has ailments from disappointed love. Now, if we look at this on page 187, if you happen to have the book, you can follow along. But the top remedies are Aurum Metallicum, great for depression, but also for ailments from disappointed love. And that was one of the medicines I used for myself when I was suffering at that time. Coffea, that was the medicine that turned me around. I had used Aurum, and then I used Coffea, and that turned me completely around. Then there's also Cocculus, and each one of these have their own specific aspects that touch on the kind of suffering each person experiences. So, Aurum Metallicum is great deep depression. Cocculus is ailments from, especially from taking care of someone for a long period of time and elongated, a loved one that's in bed and you're right by their side and it's night watching. Cocculus. Ignatia is bold and capitalized and underlined. Ignatia can be used for men, but it's more often we use it for women. Why? Because it's just that disappointment from, oh my gosh, and feeling overwhelmed and kind of unhappy on many different levels. Ignatia, it's Ignatia Amara, named after Saint Ignatius, by the way. Thank you very much. Then we also have Hyoscyamus. Hyoscyamus is ailments from disappointed love in which there is jealousy and other behaviors. I'm just giving you quick little pieces to put together. There's a lot more to each of these medicines, but I'm giving you kind of a quick resource in which to say, okay, is there jealousy? No, there's no jealousy. Is there odd behavior? No, there's no odd behavior. Okay, then Hyoscyamus might not be the one. Natrum muriaticum, beautiful medicine for silent disappointed love. They don't talk about it. And if you bring it up, they do not want to discuss it. They have to separate themselves from it. They're the silent sufferers from the ailments from disappointed love. Then there's phosphoric acid. Now, a lot of times I use this medicine, phosphoric acid, is great for someone who's had too many drugs. Basically, it's the whole world. I hate to say it. You know, how many times have you been into surgery? Even dental surgery. If you've had surgery and and the ailments from the disappointed love come shortly after that, there is a likelihood that phosphoric acid is a good remedy. But psychologically, the way that person experiences that disappointed love is that they feel flat. They feel like life is insipid. They end up on the sofa. They watch movies. They can't rouse themselves to get going in the day. There's a lot of fatigue with it as well. So then I'm running through these just to give you kind of a little flavor of some ideas. Then there's, I see pulsatilla in here. These are all the bold remedies here. There are good, 70 remedies here, but I'm giving you the top ones. Those that are the most common. Pulsatilla, it's often, not always, but often a remedy that's specific for women, especially younger women, but not always. Don't say, oh my gosh, this medicine would be so helpful for my husband, but I'm afraid to use it because you've said it's for women. No. It is a medicine that can be used for anyone at any age, but we often see that it's a little more focused on women. Ignatia, a little more focused on women. Or metallicum, a little more focused on men. Phosphoric acid, a little more focused towards men. So you see where I'm going with this. It just adds a little dimension there that helps you build your argument for that particular medicine. Pulsatilla. Okay, so it's a very needy medicine, emotionally very needy. They cling, they kind of whine, they're desperate, they feel definitely broken, but they're weepy and clingy. And Staphysagria. Now, Staphysagria and Ignatia are the only two medicines here that are bold and underlined. Staphysagria is especially when there has been a sense of betrayal, a sense of embarrassment, and the person feels like they've been cut off at the knees. There's a very deep sense of betrayal is not the only word. Somebody else help me with this. There are some good words that we can talk about that are. I know I've got a lot of my good students here who are in my academy, and I know they will know. Let's see, Staphysagria. Let's see if you all can give me a word that will describe the situation in which Staphysagria is such a good medicine. Now, under this general rubric where I said ailments from disappointed love, it's broken down into sub-rubrics. Suppressed, thank you, Phoenicia. It's suppressed anger. The person feels suppressed, absolutely. Shame, thank you, Ellen, very good. Feeling violated, says Debbie. And yes, Susan says indignity. Yes, absolutely. Humiliation. Very. See, now, disappointment is not exactly it. And abandonment is not necessarily it either, because we already know that this is disappointment. So these other words, feeling violated, shame, injustice, yes, suppression, suppressed anger. Oh, my friends. Oh, you're very good students. I love you all. It's wonderful. Now, if we go to the sub-rubrics, as I started to discuss, we can see that the first sub-rubric, which is really fascinating, is, remember, the top description is ailments from disappointed love. And then the sub-rubric is causes amenorrhea. Causes amenorrhea. What? Can amenorrhea be caused from disappointed love? You bet it can. We can see all kinds of things that are caused by ailments of from disappointed love. How about drowsiness with disappointed love? How about epilepsy? Causes epilepsy from disappointed love. These are all sub-rubrics. Yes. How about feeble heartbeat from disappointed love? These are all sub-rubrics. I'm reading directly from the book. With inclination to laugh. With cold limbs. Almost imperceptible pulse. See, now, under almost imperceptible pulse, and what was the other one? Feeble heartbeat. The remedy phosphoric acid comes up. And why is that? Because they're so fatigued. They're so fatigued from this ailment. Yes. You bet. You bet. Exactly. And how about suicidal disposition from disappointed love? What are we looking at? Or metallicum. It doesn't mean every person who has a need for ormetalcum will show that. Not everyone will have that. But if it's there, oh my gosh, you've got to consider ormetalcum. You have to. What to look under for fear of someone taking your stuff. Okay, well, that's a little different. So let's see if we can stay on this. Even professional disappointment. Staphysagra, thank you, Veronique. Veronique says a professional disappointment. Yes, it can be a disappointment from embarrassment. Okay, some people are saying, Ajit says sepia. Sepia is a good medicine, and we have sepia in here. It doesn't show, I'm sure we have sepia in here. Let's see, where is sepia? Yeah, sepia is in here. It's not one of our top remedies, but it is pretty important. Certainly, hyoscyamus. Yep, yes. Oh, here's someone from South Africa. Nice to see people from the other side of the pond. Let's see what else we've got. Let's see. Some other points, questions, comments. So, how do we do this? We use a 200. Could you use a 6? There are a lot of French homeopaths who use 6 potencies. They use 9s. Sometimes they use 12s. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Professionally, I've always used a 200. And I've used it twice daily for a few days. We're not talking about using this for a long period of time, friends. No. Just a couple of days. When I tell you I took ormetalcum and coffea cruda when my father passed away, and I only needed it a few days. 2 days, 3 days. That was it. And when I felt better, I stopped. I could tell him. My husband could tell me. He said, "Oh, look at you. You're pretty much back to yourself. Still suffering. Still broken heart from the loss. Still a pit in my stomach that I'd lost someone really important in my life. But I was not to my knees. And I was able to act in full agency of myself. So 200C twice a day for a couple of days. That's what I use. In any one of these medicines, that's what I would start to use. Now, just because the situation is awful doesn't mean the medicine's not going to act. So I'm going to tell you, I'm going to say that again and again because it's super common for folks to say something like, well, what are you going to do? He's gone. Nothing's going to change that. So what would a medicine do? I'll tell you what a medicine does. It changes me. It doesn't change me chemically. It stimulates me naturally with a beautiful medicine, God's medicine, parenthetically, God's medicine, that helps me to make the correction. I needed to make the correction, not the situation. There's nothing can be done about the situation. I needed to make the correction. I needed to shift. My brother didn't suffer to that degree. I mean, I know he suffered, but he wasn't to his knees. I was the only one. And I've lost other people in my life. Why was this one so severe? It's just one of those things. But what it did is it brought me to my best place under these circumstances. And that was, I don't know, 7 years ago he passed away. I still think of him and my mother every single day of my life. I still think of them. They've still got their pictures right here. I still think of them every single day. But it's not painful any longer. There are moments when I think, oh, I should have done this. Why didn't I do it this way? Wish I had been more like this and less like that. We always have those remorses. But I know I don't suffer anymore. It's not a suffering. Yes, thank you very much, Melissa says. It moves from despondent to processing the loss, processing the insult, processing the broken heart, processing the suffering from having to make a decision that was unhappy. It helps us move to our next step. It tightens up the timeline, because over time I would have gotten there. Over time you will get there. Over time you will process and figure out, how do I deal with this person, or how do I deal with this situation? And over time you will have processed it and figured it all out. Homeopathy just allows you to move it along a little faster because your body is in its best place. You've got your full agency returning again. Okay. Okay. I use 200 C's, and I'm going to remind you, my friends, we do not use these medicines for long periods of time. Why? Because I just said why. Because they're medicine. These are not vitamins. They're not nutrients. They're not supplements. They're not essential oils. They're none of that. These are absolute medicines, which means they have to be used judiciously. We should not overuse them. We should not be taking them just because, oh, perhaps I could just use this. Someone asked me on the blog this morning if they could use Cinna, because I talked about it in my blog last night regarding parasites. If they could just take it, they don't know if they have parasites, but, they're taking some other things, and they thought maybe they could just add it to the picture. No. That's not the way we look at homeopathy. I want you to have a good argument for the reason that you use these medicines. I want you to say, Your Honor, in the rubrics court, Your Honor, I'm using this medicine because of this reason and this reason too. And I can get 2 or 3 reasons to choose that. Now, after I tell you all of this tonight, I would hope that you don't say, oh yeah, well, I'll just use phosphoric acid because I have fatigue. No. I want you then, once you've gone through this with me in the repertoire, and if you have the repertoire yourself, go through it again yourself. Then you go to your materia medica. Now, I also happen to have Robin Murphy's Nature's Materia Medica, but I have my own Materia Medica too. There's a picture of it, or there's a cover of it right there. I think that's it. It's hard to see backwards. I have a Materia Medica. You could go to Joette's Learning Center and scroll down and find my Materia Medica. But you can also find, my friends, I'm happy that you purchase my educational products, but there are lots of educational products out there that are even free. Dr. Boricke, Boericke, Boricke's Materia Medica. Dr. Fatak, Phatak, free online. It's probably in a PDF format. These two, Boricke and Fatak, free Materia Medicas, my friend. And then you go to the remedy that you're considering. And if you're not sure between Ignatia and Aurum and Pulsatilla, guess what you're going to do? You're going to read Ignatia, Aurum, and Pulsatilla. You're going to read them. And you're going to go back and forth and read what it says about those medicines. There's also Dr. James Tyler Kent's Materia Medica. My friends, there is a lot of good information. And a lot of it I give here for free. I've been doing it for 15 years. Every week with Monday Night Live and with my blog and our podcasts. And I give as much free information as I possibly can. Okay, let's see what everybody else is saying. So this one is what to look under for fear of someone taking your stuff. That's fear of being robbed. Fear of robbers. That's what you look under. Fear, robbers. Okay. Let's see. Yeah, pulse relates to the heart, so it makes sense if you're heartbroken. What dose of Orm? I already talked about that. I think I'm going too far back. I used Napmure for a young adult, for disappointed love, for a heartbreak, boyfriend, girlfriend breakup. They couldn't cry anymore and had suppressed feelings. Couldn't cry. That's often Napmure. They couldn't eat. Music affected them. Music affects people with who need Napmure. Music affects them so deeply. And in fact, the only way they can cry is they listen to specific kinds of music. Napmure took care of it quickly as they wanted to feel again and cry in a healthy way. When someone cannot feel, Napmure is a beautiful medicine. Thank you, Fernisha, for sharing that. Let's see. I love what Melissa says. These remedies move you from despondent to processing the loss. Elizabeth says, more than any remedy, Tennyson's words helped me after my father's passing. Quote, forgive me my grief for one removed. Thy creature whom I found so fair, I trust he lives in thee, capital Thee, and there I find him worthier to be loved. You're going to bring tears to my eyes, Elizabeth. That is quite beautiful. Thank you very much. I'm going to pick that up and I'm going to probably jot it down. Thank you, Tennyson. Beautiful. Can anyone recommend a good homeopathic kit? Some people are talking. I will tell you that I'm going to have a kit soon. There are going to be 96 remedies in it. I'm working with Boron now as we speak. I just met with them I meet with them through texts, and we met originally in person a couple months ago, and we're going to have a kit. It'll be my kit. It'll say Joette Calabrese on it, Practical Homeopathy. So I don't know that you want to wait that long. I don't know how long it'll be before it's actually put out to the market, but what I love about it is that it's going to have a lot of medicines, and I think that's very important. But meanwhile, there are many kits. So if anyone wants to talk about them, what if it has been a few years after the death of a loved one, would we use the same one? And potency. If the ailments from from disappointed love still remain, those ailments, what are they? Amenorrhea, emotional and mental symptoms. What were some of the other ones? With jealousy, feeble heartbeat. If those symptoms remain as a result of that, and you know it's that, how do you know it's that? Because you saw it ever since then. It doesn't matter how long ago it was, friends. It does not matter how long ago. Everything stays the same. All right, Laura, I've ordered several remedies from Uranus and quite quality so far. Okay. Thank you, Fernisha. Hi, Mindy. People are saying hi to each other. It's great. Okay. Joette has a great Materia Medica, which our local study group in NWFL goes through every month along with an ailment. We learn a lot, even if some of us are APH graduates. Yes, thank you, Fernisha. Yes. I love your Materia Medica, says Donna. Thank you. I use it all the time. And let's see. My Materia Medica is really is a great accompaniment. You can never have enough Materia Medicas. I think the last counting I had was something like 43. Different authors, friends. The three that I mentioned, Kent, Boraki, Fatak, mine, that's 4. 5 is Nature's Materia Medica by Robin Murphy. I've got many, many different Materia Medicas, and I love them all because each author writes slightly differently. Okay. Let's see what else people are saying. Hopefully your kit will be 200 potency because I have a 30 kit and rarely use it. Well, I have to tell you that I find that the 30 potencies you will use for a lot of situations. So the 200 potency you will use more frequently for certain circumstances, and 30th potency for others. Yeah, any updates on your Boomeropathy course? I have to tell you that is one of my great embarrassments, Debbie, is that my Boomeropathy course is not completed. I've been asked to speak at the National Center for Homeopathy in April, and now I have to start preparing for that. So, oh my gosh. And we just got out of our mastermind group last week, so I'm afraid that Boomeropathy again is on the back burner. Okay, Mindy says the grief and heartbreak will get better the moment you watch this on YouTube. So Mindy's got a suggestion there. It's exciting to get Joette's kit made. I can't wait till it's done. We've been talking about this for a couple of years, but I do think this is going to happen quickly. Okay. If I have too many materia medicas, I'd really be confused which remedy to choose. Well, in the beginning that may happen, but after a while it will shore up your understanding. I hope you add your quote to the quote of the day. Whatever the remedy brings you to the best place under the circumstances. Love that. Thank you, Kat, for saying that. All righty. So, oh my goodness, it's already 8:30 Eastern time. So I'm going to my mighties, and Perry's going to switch me over in a minute. And here we go. Kim says, Donna, we find our favorites and then use the others for more deeper reference. Yeah, because there are times when it's kind of helpful to read a little bit more. Okay, yeah. You can't see all of the comments because I'm on different forums. I've got mighties. My mighties are with me tonight, and that's what I'm reading from mostly. Okay, let me just see. Knee snap, says Bonnie. I'm sorry, Bonnie. We're gonna stick to this subject if you don't mind. Nation 200 works so well for this, but then comes back after I'd feel better in a few weeks. Can't see all those comments. Okay, that's great. Alicia, I'd take Joette's gateway classes. You'll learn a lot there. Yes, thank you, Donna. You will learn a lot in those gateway classes. And listen, friends, if you've taken it once, doesn't mean you can't take it again. I would join again. You've already bought the book. Just join another group. It's amazing how much you learn from other people in the same group. So blessed to know you. We've learned so much from blogs and live S's. Thank you kindly. Yes, you're very welcome, Kiran. For someone starting out, I don't know where to start. Well, I would say this is a good place to start, Alicia, and also gateway to homeopathy. So you go to Joette's Learning Center. Just put Joette's Learning Center, no apostrophe. JOETTES Learning Center, and scroll down and go to the gateway. It's right there. It's a study group, and you actually meet with others, and then you start building your community. I would love that, Kit. Would you use Nap Urine higher potency? I use 200. That's just what I use. Would I ever use a higher potency? Well, there are times when we would use higher potencies, but I would certainly start with a 200. Thanks for the recommendations. Okay, fascinating for certain remedies, even for long-term grief. Along the same links, my new daughter-in-law has chronic neck and shoulder pain from an accident as a child. Are there remedies that would be suitable for this? Yes, absolutely, Lisa. Absolutely. Just because it's old does not mean it can't be done. Okay, are we ready, Perry?
Yes.
Okay, we're going to go to my mighties. So those who are mighties, stay with me, and we'll go into more questions.